Life can be very difficult. Life is full of twists and turns. Life throws things at us, and even if we do our very best, it can be really difficult to manage all of the challenges that can come up in our health or in our wealth, relationships, work, in our mind. And I personally have gone through a number of rather difficult situations all at the same time. And I wanted to share a few things I've learned that perhaps could help you going through whatever you're going through. Because if we have a way of getting through, even though it isn't easy, and even though there is a lot of pain involved, at least we can navigate with a little bit more grace. The first thing I've learned is to make a decision within myself to really try and get the most benefit out of it and to aim to come out the other end better off. I know this might sound obvious, but when things come up, we can often just go, oh God, what's going on? And, just freak out about it. And it can be the last thing we think about, but how can this be good? We can immediately think this is awful. So one of the things I did is to say, Michael, make a promise to yourself that you're going to try and learn the lessons. You're going to try and get the benefit. You're going to try and really take advantage of this situation and aim to come out the other end better. Because with that in mind, the situations are still unpleasant, but there can be hidden secrets, hidden benefits in there, and we can notice them much quicker, and we can get a lot more benefit with that intention. I've learned a lot about myself and about life and things that I need to change in myself because I had this attitude, and I feel I'm better off now than I was before, even though it wasn't very pleasant getting there. The second thing that really helps is to choose to face the feelings and face the situation and lean into it. This can also be the last thing on our mind when we're suffering, is we want to run away, we want to escape, we want to distract ourselves. And sometimes distracting ourselves from the pain is the best thing to do in order to tolerate a really difficult situation. But in the end, we're going to have to come back and actually face it. And what I've noticed is that resisting the problems, resisting the challenges, resisting what needs to be done, resisting taking action, resisting the pain and the suffering, that resistance actually amplifies the issue and it prolongs it. I have a meditation on pain relief that I developed after going through a lot of physical pain when I was very sick in India one time. And what I noticed is that in the extreme pain, of course I don't like pain, but we can find a place of peace when we stop resisting. We can kind of come to this place of lightness where the pain is still there, but we're not resisting it, we're accepting it, and we can experience this really wonderful feeling of freedom in the pain. But if we're resisting, that resistance amplifies it and pushes it and increases it, and it makes it worse. So the second thing is just to aim to just face it. Say, I'm going to be with this. I'm going to be here with this experience. I'm going to accept it, and I'm going to lean into it. I'm going to stop resisting it. It sounds scary, but once you do it a few times, you realize that actually you can come through that quicker without resisting it, because we can take action, or we can feel the feelings, or we can deal with whatever we need to deal with. And then on the other side, there's this wonderful relief. The third thing that's really helped me, and perhaps can help you, is to tell your friends and family about what you're going through. If you're like me, you might, think I can handle it myself, and I don't want to, involve other people, and I don't want to make people worried about me and take their time. And that's what I thought. But when I shared some of the difficult situations that I was going through with friends and family, they were very, very loving. They were very supportive, very caring, and they offered advice and support and kindness and various different things to help. And if you have, close friends, talking to them on a regular basis and working through this is really, really, really helpful, because then you're not on your own. So, open up. I've heard people even share things on social media and on Facebook, and strangers who they don't know very well, people they only know briefly, sometimes come out of the woodwork and want to support them. So whether it's people in your life or people who aren't with you physically but you connect with online, you can get a lot of help just by reaching out, because it actually brings people joy to show up and help others. Another thing I found that was really important is to take the pressure off myself, to not be so hard on myself, and to be all right with not being productive. I'm a sort of person who likes to get things done and make things happen and be productive, and going through difficult situations with health issues or physical things in life changing, relationship issues, business things. It can be hard to function normally and just wake up and get stuff done with all this emotion challenges. And I gave myself such a hard time about it. Well, I haven't been doing anything. What are you doing with your life? You're just wasting away. But I got advice from a friend who said, look, just stop beating yourself up and just be all right with it. Just be all right with not being productive. Just be okay with experiencing what you're experiencing. You'll get back into it. You'll be able to get back in the game and be productive in the future. But really be with what you are dealing with. And I found that very, very helpful, to just allow myself the time to go through whatever it was I'm going through and to come out the other end. It's the same thing as not resisting in a way, just accepting what is and being with it long enough. Another thing that really has helped me is to get more rest, or get plenty of rest, because if we haven't had enough sleep and we haven't had enough rest, especially if we're feeling sick, then we can't heal. I got COVID recently, and then I think I got bronchitis on top of it. Hooray! And I was going through a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, oh God, there's all these things. And I remember I went for a walk, and I was trying to go on my usual walk, and I was walking up this mountain, and I got part way up, and I just kind of basically collapsed on a rock, and I felt so bad. I can't do anything, and my life's a mess, and I can't even walk up this hill, side of the mountain. But I just needed more rest, so I went home and got an early night, and I've found that when we're going through a lot, sleep is really important, and taking naps is important. Just lying down somewhere or sitting down reading a book or something is really, really, really helpful. So give yourself an opportunity to rest really well. And of course, it wouldn't be complete if we didn't talk about connecting to a higher power, get meditation, being open to receive help from the source of all goodness, the one. When we're going through a hard time, we can call out, for help, but at the same time we can feel like we're not worthy or we're not good enough, or it can be harder to actually make that spiritual connection when we're not feeling good. This is what I personally have found. But just to make time, you can do it lying down or sitting down very comfortably, and just remembering that you're a spiritual being, that everything's basically fine, really, on a deeper level. It's all happening for a reason. That there's a sense of, when you separate yourself from the suffering, you are this beautiful being of light. And you're such a loved, beautiful soul. I had an experience on the plane going back from a retreat, and I wasn't feeling well. And I was listening to some music, and the plane was lifting off, and I had this wonderful feeling of just being separated. All the negativity and pain in my life was separated from me, and I'm this beautiful being of light, and you're a beautiful being of light, and that being of light that we are, separate from everything else, is profoundly loved by God and is full of love and peace and bliss. And we can come into this exquisite state of serenity and joy and bliss and peace if we're willing just to be with ourselves and really feel, not to understand, but to feel that we are this wonderful being separate from everything else. And God loves that light that we are. And we are not all that other stuff. To really separate it out. And the final thing to mention is to have a vision. This is perhaps really the first thing, but knowing what we want is absolutely critical. To know what we want in the future, to have a future self that we are inspired by, to have a vision of ourselves in the future, a higher version of us that we can look forward to, and to imagine that and to feel that and to hold that energy, because these situations will pass, they will come to an end, and we will come out into a new world, into a different future. And so knowing what that future is and holding that in our mind is so important, because it gives us hope, it gives us energy, it gives us inspiration. It's kind of like jumping over the top of the challenge and landing on the other side gracefully and feeling that you've already got there. And that energy is so beautiful, and you can pull that energy back into your life now. And that gives a lot of strength, power, hope, and inspiration to keep going when times are tough. So hopefully this has been helpful. This is what has helped me personally, and I wish you every success in coming through whatever it is you're going through. And know that on a deeper level, you're a spiritual being, that you're always safe. And wonderful, beautiful things are coming your way. Lots of love, many, many blessings.